All right, hello students. This is a demonstration for painting. I'm going to go over how to turn a regular circle into looking like a three-dimensional sphere. So we're going to end up with something kind of like this. So start with your Canvas page. You're going to take that from your Canvas pad. Yours are 12 by 16, so you should have plenty of room to do multiple circles on that page. I am using a 9 by 12 because it's easier to show you guys in the demo. It fits in the screen better. So I am working on a masonite board. If you still have a drawing board left from taking drawing in the fall, you can use this at home. Please bring it back though, because I need those for future incarnate students. There are also a few in the classroom that you can use. You can also tape your page to the back of your Canvas board, which is that panel. It's like a more stiff canvas that's on a backing board. And should say like Blick or Fredericks or something on the back. There's some kind of text on the back. All right, so I don't know if you guys have ever had this experience, but when I was in art school, I had some professors who were very keen on you have to be able to draw like a perfect circle by hand, and we do something like this. I don't think that that's important. That's not something that I value. If you have a masking tape roll handy, there are several in the classroom. So just grab one and you can just, boom, perfect circle, done. So I'm gonna do a couple of these. You'll have room for more than I have room for. It's actually, here we go. I can fit several on one page. Okay, so next I'm going to think about how light hits a circle coming in. And you can set something like this up so you can see it for yourself. If you took drawing, you know that there's going to be kind of like a shadow. Say we're imagining the light coming from this direction. We're going to get a core shadow here. Going to be maybe a little bit darker, kind of at the back where there's no light hitting it. And then it's going to be brighter. We're going to kind of have a highlight here. So this will be kind of somewhere in between. And then this really bright spot here. And how we're going to do that with our paint is we're going to need to have a little bit of black paint, a little bit of white paint, and then you can use the color of your choice. So the first thing I'm going to do, make sure you guys get set up well so you can work easily. I'm going to tip this a little bit so you can see what I have going on here. So I've got my jar of water, my palette, and then I have a paper towel on either side. I use this one to wipe excess paint off my brushes, and then this side to wipe excess water before I go in for a new color. I found that works really well. I read it in a book on painting and tried it out, and I thought, hey, this person really is smart and knows what she's talking about. All right, I'm just gonna add a little black on top of the black that's already dried in my palette. I'm gonna worry about peeling it out later. All right, I'm gonna go kind of small-ish because I've got kind of small circles. All right, I need a little water. You can think back to the medium consistency paint that we were working with early on. All right, I'm going to turn this back so you can see my canvas. All right, so you don't have to do pencil down first. I just want to illustrate that for you all. All right, so So I'm kind of being careful at the edge here because I want to keep that circle shape. What you're going to end up here, what you're going to end up with here is sort of a little bit of a crescent moon shape. And kind of pull a little bit out here. If you go outside your circle, you could always fill that area in with white paint or whatever your background is going to be if that seems a little big. All right, this is my 5/8 inch. What I was using for the black is the 6 shader, number 6 shader. This is the 5/8 inch wash. I'm just going to recall the dry brush technique that we practiced and pull some of that paint out here. So I'm starting to get a little bit of shadow already, and a little bit of dimension. All right, so let's practice that again. We're going to go kind of do a clean edge as much as we can. But if we mess it up, we're not going to feel bad, okay? You kind of have to do this, really everything, or you kind of have to do it poorly before you get to being able to do it well. It's just part of the learning process. And art is a practice. It is not something, I mean, I guess some people, it seems like they come to it easily. But every artist that I know, even if they love it and they're drawn to it, you know, they have worked very hard studying art and practicing it, learning their skills and improving them over many years. Something that I wish I had known as a high school student, because I was very much of the mind that if I was not going to be good at it, like pretty much right away, I did not really have too much interest in it. I would try something and then I wanted to be good at it like now. But that's really not realistic for anything. I think of art a lot like athletics, in that you got to practice it, and that's how you get better. I was putting a little bit more paint in there because I didn't have much that I could pull from. All right, so I've got my little crescent moon shapes here. I'm gonna try to wait till they're pretty much dry. All right, that feels good. And it can be all the way dry. That's not gonna hurt it. All right, I'm gonna use my cadmium orange. You guys can use whatever you like. And again, I'm just gonna put this right on top of the color that's already dried out in my palette. All right, I don't need all that black, so I'm gonna wipe that off. All right, I'm doing this because I don't want to wash a whole bunch of brushes. I want to maybe like wash one or two. All right. I'm going to get a little bit of water in there with my orange paint. And I'm going to paint this in. I might have added a little more water than I wanted, but that's fine. When I do these, I try to, like when I create shapes and want things to look a little bit three-dimensional, I often will try to make the brush strokes sort of in that shape. This is something I learned somewhere in a book, in art school, something like that stuck with me. So since I'm doing this paint pretty thin, what's happening is I'm ending up sort of glazing over the top of that shadow. Is what it's called, glazing, when you apply a thin layer of paint over the top of another layer. And so now I've got this kind of orange tinted shadow going on. And if I want to have thicker paint in the other parts, I can go ahead and do that. But it's really the shadow that's going to do that three-dimensional aspect. All right, the last thing I'm going to do is add a little highlight. So I've got a little white paint on my brush, and then remember that stippling technique. And this is going to work best if you let this paint dry underneath. If you don't, then it's going to kind of blend in maybe a little more than you want. I just kind of tap it to like blend it out a little bit. All right, and that's how we do that. This is not the most beautiful spear I've ever painted. But again, we're just practicing. If yours are not beautiful too, don't worry about it. All right, I will get to the next steps in another video.